So today we have Sriram, a very good friend of Reddy and mine now. Now that we have had a nice long chat. So you have been a counselor, not a therapist again. Let's clarify that. Not a therapist, but a counselor. Very
Yep,
big
absolutely.
today.
Big difference. Big difference.
So let's just talk a
So,
little bit about the difference in counseling and therapy. Just tell me a gist of how both differ.
so it depends upon the level of qualifications that you have. I'm what you call a counseling psychologist. I do not deal with any clinical cases because it is not allowed. Moreover, it is not ethical to go ahead and deal with clinical cases. Clinical cases include any form of mental illnesses like your schizophrenia, bipolar. What I go ahead and do is generally just graze around the emotional uh, challenges that we humans face on a day-to-day basis. We normally are not licensed. A license is only provided to the clinical psychologist with RCI credentials through the Rehabilitation Council of India. And the next is you're from a psychologist. A psychiatrist is from an MBBS background. So if you're going to go to a hospital, chances are you might find a lot of clinical psychologists and counseling psychologists. We just go ahead and work with you on your emotional regulation more.
Okay, got it. So uh, this I wanted to do now, as we discussed. There are tons of places that people can find symptoms and how to find and to recognize stuff about themselves. That's different. Now, what? Let's discuss about how to how to be a better listener. I mean, how to be that person, that friend, when someone comes up to you and says that you know what, I'm not feeling well.
So I remember us having this conversation around World Men's Mental Health Month, and one very important thing which I feel is lacking is probably men as men. We are unsure how to respond or react when another man comes to us with a set of problems or any kind of challenges that they are facing on a day-to-day basis. They come up to us and vent out whatever is going on in their mind. We normally are taken aback for a second. As you know, normally if it's guys, they're like, let's go have a drink. And that one drink leads to another, and the topic gets completely deviated from what he
Yeah.
was thinking. As far as traditionally, that's what has happened over the, I think, millennia as well, if we have to be very honest. And I think we
चल एक
have that
चाय
phrase,
सुट्टा
come,
मार
let's go,
लेते हैं या फिर एक
एक
चल एक
सुट्टा और एक चाय मारते हैं, बात करेंगे. And
थोड़ा
that,
सा रम
that
पीते
talk will deviate.
हैं.
बहुत deviate हो जाएगा. So, listening is a very important skill that helps us throughout our lifetime. To be very honest, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a gist of how things usually work. In counseling, listening is a very important skill because we can find out subtle things, small things, which are making a very big impact to the person's current emotional situation. As much as we pick up those very subtle small things or the actions that the person has taken or triggers, anything can be caught when we are actively listening to a person when they're coming up. As far as men are concerned, first and foremost, don't do not be dicks. I really wanted to use the another word, but I would say don't be dicks. When a person walks up to you and just says, I want to talk to you about something that's going on in my life, all you have to do is just say, acha बैठेंगे, बात करेंगे. No sutta, no drinks. First sit, talk, find a nice quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Put your phone on silent, give your undivided attention to that particular person when they are venting out or they are stating whatever exactly are the issues that's going on. Second, when you're listening, once they complete a certain part of that particular narrative that they have or they of the situation that they're going through, whatever you understand, in case if you haven't understood any part of it, paraphrase and ask them more questions about it. Say if somebody walks up to me and says, dude, I'm feeling really low today, I don't know why, I would just go ahead and sit and listen. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about what's going on right now? Why do you feel this way? and he'd say, I don't know. And you would come up with, okay, anything that happened recently that's put you off, or have you had any kind of emotional trouble at work or at home? How are things at home? How are the relationships with your colleagues or relationships with your parents? I will go ahead and probe in a little bit deeper to understand where is the root cause of all the issues. Okay, as that give and take of the exchange of information is taking place, that's when you realize that there is a lot to the issue sometimes then you actually what meets the eye, to be very honest.
Oh,
uh, so that listening part of it is something that men, regardless they like it or not, they have to listen. They have to go ahead
absolutely.
and put in the effort to listen.
I'll give you an example like this. For example, I had a friend. I have still a good
Hmm?
friend, and obviously, his name, but yeah. So I have a friend, and he would always remain very sad and stuff. He had a
Hmm.
nice girlfriend and living in together. He had a good job.
Hmm.
Things
Hmm.
seems fine. I just kept pestering at one point. What happened? Everything okay? What happened? Now sometimes you have to be that person as well who asks because the other person
Absolutely.
care about them and they are not willing to divulge it to you or talk about it to you or anybody else for that matter at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I kept pestering him, pestering him. Suddenly one day he he actually opened up, and this was something
Okay.
that he had not told literally anybody in his life, not his
Hmm.
girlfriend, not his to be wife, no, nobody. He was abused as a child.
Oh,
This he had not told anybody.
okay.
At that point, it hit me that sometimes issues are not just what you see in front of you. Because what I used to think was, okay, maybe his job is not going well. Maybe he's not successful. He's not feeling he's successful. Maybe that could be the reason. Or maybe he's not happy in the relationship. Maybe he's not happy with his parents or something like that.
Hmm.
But it went down so deep that no matter how
Hmm.
much happiness he had around him, he just couldn't feel happy or energetic or stuff like that. So
Because those things keep
yeah,
coming up in his mind over and over again.
exactly. And that's why there are very extreme don'ts when someone comes up to you to talk about. The don't
True.
is don't judge, first of all.
Absolutely. Thumb
Don't
rule.
judge.
Thumb rule.
Some rules.
Thumb rule.
Don't
I
judge.
would say that
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
uh, being judgmental is what has stigmatized entire men from speaking up.
So first is don't judge. Second, I
Hmm.
believe is don't downplay. क्या रे यार सबको होता है मेरे को भी हो चुका
Yep,
है यार मेरे को भी हो
absolutely,
चुका है I've also gone through the same. No, everyone's experience is different. Everyone's experience is different. Everyone has gone through
absolutely.
the same thing. Maybe they have gone through the same thing, but just because how their heads are, how their hearts are, they felt it
Hmm.
in a very different. किसी ने आपको
Very
एक
true.
गाली दिया, किसी ने मेरे को एक गाली दिया. We both will deal with it very differently, and we will both will feel it very differently. So don't downplay.
True.
Third is don't start saying कि अरे मेरे साथ भी हुआ है and give the
Hmm.
same advice of what you did and because everything for everybody something else works. Maybe it worked for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. After only asking a lot of questions, after going through everything, like after finding out the reason, then only you can give some
Hmm.
advice. And obviously, the first advice is always to go to therapy. From my
Absolutely.
end, I always urge people to go to therapy.
Absolutely. So the thing is with us is we don't know how to deal with it. All of us are in more on this problem solving mode. When a person comes with you with a set of problems, the first and foremost thing that you would try to go ahead and think, how can I solve this problem for him? I mean, we are being ourselves, but we are conditioned in such a way that we're problem solvers. So we want to go ahead and solve the problem immediately and instantly. We are living in this instant noodles generation where everything is snap of a finger. You order something, it's 10 minutes, it's in. Likewise, with our problems as well, we are feeling that, what problems should be solved instantaneously. Instant gratification is what we call it. We want to go ahead and get validated instantly. We want problems to be solved instantly. We want to, just to let give a very brief way. I want to ask you a first question. How would you like me to go ahead and put this conversation completely going forward? Do you want me to be absolute brutal, or do you want me to sugarcoat the entire thing?
No, no, don't sugarcoat. Don't sugarcoat. I
No
like it
sugarcoating.
raw.
All right.
I like it raw.
All right. So one, yes, Instagram is a, it's a death trap. Let me be very honest in terms of social media, in terms of a lot of things. Restrict yourself. I'm telling you not to go ahead and consume it. Go ahead and watch it, but don't believe everything that you see on it. Secondly, therapy is definitely a must if you feel that there is something that you need, you feel something is wrong with you. Go to a doctor. It's as simple as if you get a bloody fever, you would go to a doctor, you would medicate yourself with a paracetamol or a dolo. Similarly, if you find that you are not in the right space of mind, if you're getting irritated, if you're getting spaced out, you don't know what the hell you're doing, go. One session can make a whole world of a difference. I'm not telling you to go ahead and continue the entire session, like go for 10, 15, 20 sessions. I'm telling you, just go give that one session a shot where you go ahead and get a bit of perspective to yourself. Second, more thirdly, this entire project, what you have here, Shubhra, it's an amazing platform for men to go ahead and understand, or just a mental health in general to go ahead and understand. But I'm focusing today more on how to go ahead and listen, how to go ahead and respond to people, how to be, not to be a dick, and how to be a better person. We see that with men, there is quite a lot of things. One, that goddamn listening skills. It's like a monkey playing drums in our head. Every time somebody talks to us, it's like we'll be spaced out, we'll be just completely zoned out. And it's as if there's a monkey playing drums somewhere nearby you, you're just zoned out and you're so interested there. You
Especially
only
if
hear
it's
certain words.
especially if it's something related to emotions or stuff like that.
Absolutely. So it's like that barrier that we have built. We don't want to, because it brings out the worst in us. It's our inside head, our subconscious telling, bloody hell, I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to get triggered by these things. Uh, so we don't want, if I have to start from scratch, one, stop being dicks. When somebody comes up to you and says that they want to vent out, stop being dicks. Don't take them out for a drink, don't take them for a sutta or a chai. Just go ahead and sit with them quietly, with give your undivided attention to them and ask what's going on. Second, you ask questions when they are speaking. Let them speak a little bit. If you are uh, confused, or if you're not able to catch up with what they're saying, stop them, ask them more about what exactly it is. If they're stressing on certain things, like, I felt so frustrated when she did this, I felt so frustrated when they did this, ask them why. Ask them why is that frustration, that why are they getting that thoughts into their head when somebody speaks. There was this very funny thing of when you see a certain person, you just get irritated for no bloody damn reason. You just see them existing on their own. You just see them, "Ah, man, what the fuck, man? I don't like this guy." Uh, it's your deeper, it's your head. There's something that has gone wrong. There's something of the traits or the behaviors that he is displaying that you have been wronged with in the past. It's your brain telling you that. So try to figure it out. Similarly, although you don't like a person, especially being men, we are conditioned to be very masculine. We are conditioned to be very stubborn, strong, being that protector guardian, like those men from 300, going like, this is Sparta, and going ahead and kicking the buckets everywhere. We don't want to do that these days, because one, the toxic masculinity what we are displaying is one of the main root causes of mental health. I'm not telling you don't go completely, don't be masculine at all, be feminine. I'm telling you, just draw a little bit of boundary as far as being very masculine is concerned. Okay, not every man, this especially with this generation, not everybody can take that level of being a hardcore male. That hardcore male is not accepted by society, it's not accepted by anybody these days. And a lot of people who need our help. Let's look into the flip side of things. You can be a very strong independent person. If there's a weaker person right next to you, would you go ahead and kick him and tell he's weak and you keep kicking him, or would you actually go ahead and help him reach where he is? If he's comfortable, leave it. If he's not, if he's looking up to you, you don't make fun of him. You go ahead and help him understand where exactly is going wrong, how, go ahead and give a deeper perspective of things to him and his own problems. I think I got a little bit deviated, but listening. Second is stop being dick. First is stop being dicks. Listen actively. Third, non-judgmental. Men are perhaps the epitome of being judgmental. Let me be honest. I am judgmental myself when it comes to my friends, whom I know. If they go ahead and do something really stupid, I'd be like, dude, this is so not you. How could you do something like this? The first thought that comes into our mind when it's with our close friends, right? Don't do that. If somebody has done something wrong, go ahead, accept it. Go ahead and listen to the reason. Go ahead and understand the entire thing. They're no bad people, they're just bad situations behind them. Non judgmental. The fourth one is going ahead and being more empathetic. I think that word is thrown around a lot these days, but when you truly want to help a person, don't sympathize with them, empathize with them, give them that little bit of hearing and help them reach to the conclusion. I'm not telling you just because your friend made a bad bet, you go ahead and cover for his losses. What I'm telling you is listen to him, go ahead. Where did it all go wrong? Go ahead and make him understand, probably give him some better insight. Because this talking back and forth, when we have a very open conversation and one person is listening and asking for more and more question, the other person, when he's speaking, he'll suddenly get that epiphany in his mind. Ah, this is where I went wrong, this is where I fucked up. So these are the kind of things that we need to go ahead and foster in in the entire mental health culture. I would say for your mental wealth, go ahead and foster this mental health culture. Don't be judgmental, stop being dicks, listen, and go ahead and be empathetic. Don't be sympathetic to people. Be empathetic. As simple as that.
Sympathy,
You
see,
don't have to.
and for men, personal experience wise, I'd say that sympathy sometimes works in a negative way as well, actually.
Absolutely. They don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like people feeling sorry for them.
Yes, yes. So instead, be empathetic, just show them, show by actions. Like, for example, if your friend is making a bad bet continuously by
Mhm.
gambling, maybe, say gambling,
Yep.
urge them to stop. Incentivize them
Absolutely.
to stop. कि अगर तू gambling नहीं करेगा मैं तेरे को यहाँ घूमने ले जाऊँ. Something like that. Just whatever pushes them
Incentivize. Absolutely.
and pushes them away from whatever bad experience or whatever that bad triggers are for them.
Absolutely. Uh, Moreover, see, this entire generation, I would say, what we are going through right now, we are seeing there have been about three generations from the 90s. So millennials, Gen Zs, Alpha. I think we are at Alpha and
I don't
something
even
else.
know now.
I've
Say
lost track.
something.
but but you know what? What's one common characteristics in most of these generations that I've noticed? I'm not talking like a boomer here, but I'm just telling us general observation. Most of these guys are not bad. They just don't know what to do. They have an information overload in their head. They're perhaps the best generation as far as being very resilient towards what they learn. They can quickly adapt to things. They are very resilient in getting and dusting up, getting up, and start working again. But the process that they go through is very chaotic for them. It's in a very self-destructive mode. Once they fall down, they're in a very self-destructive path. But they'll just get up again and they'll just move on. One thing which very evidently that I've noticed with them is they lack love. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure is it to do with the parents give them the love, but they don't have that genuine love. They don't have genuine connections with their friends. I'd say the 80s and the 90s kids, or even earlier on, you see that the bonds just keep getting stronger the years you go behind. You see that the bonds were something very sacred. If it's a friendship that they have developed over childhood or college or at work, they stay friends forever. Even if there's somebody, even if the past person passes away, there'll be an immediate family member notifying the other person, the friend stating that okay, this so and so passed away. uh,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and
So I'll give one example of my personal friendship like this. Now, there's a college friend of
Mhm,
mine,
mhm,
still very close friends. We talk maybe
mhm,
once a year or twice a year.
mhm,
We have made sure that we
mhm.
go at least one trip a year. So we're a group of
Wow.
four friends. Now, the thing
Okay.
is that this particular friend and me, politically, we are on the
Mhm.
like totally on the opposite
Extreme
end,
ends. So this.
extreme ends of
Okay.
politics. And,
Yep.
and whenever we are discussing politics, it gets to such an extent sometimes that we could kill each other. Just
Absolutely.
kill
That's
each other.
always been there in
Literally
every
kill each
friends
other.
group.
Yeah. But then, whenever we need help or we need someone to talk to, or we need to just share happiness, share something that good, something good that has happened with us. These are the
Mhm.
people that come to our head. This is the guy that,
Absolutely.
or this group of friends is who comes to my head the first. Oh, I bought a new bike. Photo. Turan.
Absolutely.
He just had a kid. He just became a dad a few months back. First thing he did
Haha.
was put in a photo on the group. Hey boys, मैं बाप बन गया, तुम लोग चाचा बन गए.
See, that's what I would say. Modern, as far as the modern generation is concerned, I think that's what they're lacking. They just lack genuine connect. They're a very good generation. They're more advanced than all of us together, and they'd say probably they're way ahead where we were as kids and where they are when they were kids. They're way ahead. But genuine connectedness, it's always that very use and throw. When I need a person, I would go ahead and use them. When I don't want them, when I'm good off, they just ignore them. But that sense of being in that particular way, even as far as relationships are concerned, people would just love to go ahead and go for date and ditch culture, one night stands, all of these cultures which put together here. The whole, if you're looking at the entire thing, they just don't know what they're doing at the end of the day. They're trying to search for something which they have absolutely no answer to. They don't know who they themselves are very first. They don't know they don't have an understanding of themselves. uh, all of us have been through this. Let me be honest, even I went through that particular phase. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing with life. I just stopped after my bachelor's degree, and it took me a decade to go ahead and just enroll myself to a master's degree and get it done with. And after that, the entire learning process has been so continuous and it's been so dynamic. I never thought if I'd applied myself back in those days, I would have been in a much better position as far as helping people would have concerned. So these things, that particular break, to be very honest, which I had was because I had a very downstream in my life as well. And that given point of time, the only thing that I was searching for is one person that I could sit with and speak my heart out. I didn't want an answer. I never wanted any kind of a resolution. I just wanted to go ahead and get things off my chest. And I wanted the person to validate what emotions I'm going through is okay. And there is always a way to figure things out. Because at that moment, you can't, not all of us are comfortable going and talking to our parents, not our elders or anybody within the family strata to go ahead and vent certain things out, go ahead and open up. So these are the things which we have to develop, because a friend is something that anybody will, regardless man or woman, at the end of the day, a friend will know more about us than our actual biological parents do. They know everything, whatever we have been through, what we are up to, and what we are capable of as well. A friend is more of that person who would know what exactly is going on with you. So if you have a friend, you're seeing subtle signs of him being zoned out, completely lacking understanding, or very disinterested in things, all of a sudden is getting really irritated, sit down and just talk to them. They will not open up. As far as men are concerned, they will definitely not open up.
The first
You
instance,
have to
never.
push it.
First instance,
Never.
99% of the time, never. No.
You just give them the reassurance. If you want, I'm here to talk to you. I will not judge you. Whatever you say, the most important thing after everything is done, whatever you say will stay between both of us. It will not go out to anybody.
And one thing I
And you
want
give them
to
that
urge
assurance.
everyone who will be watching this is that let's not just do it in the month of June as a men's mental health
Every day.
awareness month. कि सब suddenly जाग जाते हैं. Oh, let's do this now. अरे mental health. Oh, let's talk about it. No,
No.
you have to do it all year round, no matter what month, what day, or whatever it is. The moment you see someone who you feel maybe is suffering, or maybe is not how they used to be, how they used to behave, ask. Just ask. Just ask.
Ask.
Yeah.
Just ask genuinely, with genuinity. Go ahead and ask, is everything all right? You don't have to do it in a group. Take that person aside and ask them, is everything all right? See, I'm, to be honest, not much of a very open therapist. I believe in a very different way as far as the counseling or therapy is concerned. I have my own thoughts and I have my own approaches. But one approach which always works is take the person aside or invite them to a separate session. Sit down in a coffee shop, or do you want to sit down in a separate space while you're driving? Take them out for a long drive, especially men. They tend to open up. Go for a bike ride together. It even works even more better. Being a biker myself, my friends have opened up to me, or usually, normally I don't counsel my friends. I just sit and I listen to them and I direct them. And if you find anybody that is beyond emotional help from your end, if you feel this is too much that I cannot help, urge them or go ahead and keep providing that option to go ahead and seek help. Therapists are around the corner. They are qualified professionals who can do a much, much, much better justice to them than what we are doing as well. But you have to take up the initiative and from the very start to go ahead and be with them through the entire process. Just because you drop them off at therapy doesn't mean that you don't go through it with them. Support them, be there with them. You sit outside if it's fine. I've seen, personally, I have sat down with my friends. I don't counsel them because it's heavily unethical to counsel your friends and family.
Mm.
What I do is I redirect them to the right person. I sit there outside. I don't ask the other therapist what he said, what he did, because they wouldn't share. But
Yeah.
just to show a sign of support, I will go ahead and sit down with them there. If they want me inside the room, I will sit with them. If they don't want me inside the room, I will sit outside. But I will ensure that I give that 1 hour or that 45 to 50 minutes of therapy, whatever is happening there, going through. I ensure that I sit outside just to ensure that, give him that feeling of security that there are people who care for me. There are people who genuinely want to help me. And don't do these things with an agenda in mind.
Yep.
It is very, it'll be shown, it'll be very cleanly seen through your face.
True.
Don't do it with agenda. Do it with a wholeheartedness. You don't have to help everybody. I'm just telling, just one person will make a whole world of a difference. You don't have to save everybody. You're not going to be everybody's savior. Sometimes we need
Can't
to
be.
go ahead and put on our
Can't be.
oxygen mask first before we help everybody else, right?
Exactly. 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 There it is. Because with
So,
all our journeys, with your journey and my journey, I think I found myself very recently that finding
mhm.
myself. So once I found myself, I understood what I need to do and what I want to do. There's a need and want.
Oh, yeah,
What I need to do is something, and
absolutely.
what I want to do is something. So this is something that I wanted to do.
That is, you need to have a deeper connect with yourself. Sit
Yeah.
with yourself, understand the triggers, understand what is stopping you from doing it. Put it all down. You know what? If you put your problems down on a piece of paper, 80% of the problems usually have solutions for them. I always tell, put four quadrants in a paper. Just draw four lines, left, right, bottom two boxes. Go ahead and put out the things that you can do immediately. Go over the things that you can do within the next week. Go ahead and write down the things what you can do next month, and go ahead and do what you want to, your long term things, what you want to do. You put that
Absolutely.
down. You want to figure things out, it's much easier. Similar way, if you want to understand what's going on with your life, the similar quadrants work.
Yeah. One line by this line by Charlie Chaplin I really love. He said it somewhere long back. Obviously. He said, "Life is a tragedy up close, but a
Yeah,
comedy
absolutely.
from afar."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you look,
So when you pen it down, when you are talking to other people about it, when you are just talking to yourself as well, it's very different. But when you're talking to somebody else about it, and when you're writing it down, maybe then you realize, कि, हाँ है problems हैं. There is problems, but maybe they are not as, how do I say this, as big as I feel them to be right now.
absolute. So, one very good example which I saw, or I would say, somebody explained this to me in a very nice way. If you keep your problems right in front of your eyes, for example, if I'm keeping this mouse right in front of my eyes, the only thing that I see is the mouse. I don't see the larger picture. Or if I start moving the mouse away, I see more things around me. I see that right now I'm sitting in my balcony. I see the trees. I see everything. I see my balcony railings, everything, what is right in front of me. But if I'm going to go ahead and put one problem right in front of me with a horse blind telling that this is the only problem that I have, I'm not looking at things. that becomes very difficult. So that's where therapy comes. Therapy is going to help you disassociate yourself with that problems. It's going to help you. We are not going to help you find the solution. You're going to be finding the solution by yourself, by having a better understanding of yourself.
Exactly.
So if you're sitting for a counseling session, if you're going to go ahead and sit, they're not going to help you solve your problems. Rather, in fact, they're going to be making you understand what the deeper cause of the problem is, and they will help you. Similarly, as a friend, the basic thing you can do is, when there is a problem in front of your friend, you go ahead and understand the problem. Don't give him a solution.
Yes.
Ask more questions about the problem, how it may be irritating. They'll get really annoyed. But paraphrase and tell, do you think you did this? Was this okay by you? Do you normally react like this? Was this okay? They say no, especially with the heated arguments that they've had, and they come very frustrated and say to you, do you think it was okay that you did this? The first thing you immediately ask that, they'll be very defensive and they'll be like, no, 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 I was right. What I did was right. But when you talk about the problem, understand what exactly happened, the entire context behind it, the entire background behind it, and slowly you just go ahead and ask, were you in the right there, in a very different way? What do you feel? What do you think? If they're emotionally sensible people, they would come to an understanding. If they have done something wrong there, they would like, you know what, I feel that I could have handled the situation much in a
Happens, happens, happens. No issues.
things.
So yes, so when I started sharing and when I started sharing my thoughts with people, and then suddenly it gave them the
Mhm.
courage to, okay, I'm not the only one. It's not a stigma.
True, true.
That stigma, that
Yeah,
taboo, the
yep.
taboo around mental health. That yes, अरे mental health issue है. अरे mental health issue है, ये पागल है. Oh, wow. That is the biggest stigma that I've come across.
That is perhaps the most common thing that you would be hearing. If you tell you have a mental illness, the first thing that pagal hai. You say that you have anxiety, pagal hai. You say you have depression, pagal hai.
And one other thing is that comes from a lot of people of our generation, 80s, 90s, and 70s वाले. अरे ये सब आजकल की चीजें हैं. हमारे जमाने में कहाँ हुआ करता था ये सब. ये तो आजकल की
Correct.
चीजें हैं सिर्फ. कि आजकल पता चल रहा है लोगों को, तभी तो ये सब बेवकूफी है. कि क्या हमारे जमाने में कुछ नहीं होता था. पापा एक चांटा लगाते थे, सब ठीक हो जाता था. ऐसा नहीं चलता है. The number of
100%
men,
factory reset.
yeah, the number of
After
men that are dying by suicide is every day. That is a very different story from what these people have narrated.
true. So post pandemic as well, if you have noticed, there's a lot of people who have come out with their, I would say, not with their issues in general as far as mental health is concerned. There it could be their emotional issues, could be their coping mechanisms. Everything is just out there in the open right now. But uh, it is still a taboo to talk about mental uh, health in our society today, because it's something not very generally discussed. It has not been normalized, because if you normalize certain things, that's when things become more comfortable. People are more comfortable discussing or speaking about it. Instead, what happens is, like I said earlier, if I say that I have something to vent out or I have something to get off my chest, most important thing boys would do is, let's go for a drink, let's go for a smoke,
Yep.
and the entire topic gets deviated. Sometimes when we are so deep in our thoughts and we go ahead and vent out, or we go ahead and tell out what exactly is going on with our lives, we feel even the entire situation gets downplayed. Hey
Yep.
man, everything is happens for a reason. uh, so it's still not, we haven't reached a point in, especially in our society, where it's completely normalized. But I'm seeing very positive progress as far as, let's say, even organizations taking initiatives to go ahead and set up their employee assistance programs. Could be that a lot of people talk about these topics in general, about sadness, about depression, about grief. All of these things are slowly coming out in the open. So they're slowly crawling, is what I would say. I won't say even climbing. They're slowly
Mm.
creeping and crawling out. They're slowly coming out. Uh, as far as you getting mental health advice is concerned, please do it from a qualified professional.
Always.
Now, I honestly post my masters as well and post a lot of certifications as well. Trust me, even if I have to go ahead and sit with the client down, uh, in general, I don't counsel, I don't take it up as a profession. I do it more of a service. If there's somebody that needs help, I go ahead and sit down with them. I go ahead and understand. If it's something out of my capabilities to help that person, I don't take it up as a challenge. Rather, I would say I would go ahead and gently route them to the right person,
Yep.
uh, to go ahead and seek help, because I cannot play God here. It's somebody's life at play. uh, you don't want to go ahead and be the destroyer of somebody's life just because you wanted to experiment something with them, right? Seeking help will be one of the most difficult decisions that you will take as a man or anybody. See, a man's, like how a woman's life is not that easy, a man's life is also not that easy, right? There are a lot of societal expectations from a man. As far as a man is concerned, he has to be the breadwinner, has to be a provider, he has to be that emotional support to the family, to the all the people around in his family. He's the one who's supposed to go ahead and be very assertive, strong, will have to take the wisest decisions. So pretty much everything is just uh lying on him. It's everything is like a boulder on his shoulder.
Lot of expectations with a lack of appreciation.
Absolutely, it's a thankless job being a man. I'm not not to go ahead and downplay women as well. I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I've seen both sides of the coin. It's equally tough.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
equally tough. And I feel so bad for uh, women as well, as far as their expectations are concerned. It is still, we are not coming out of that mindset that women are supposed to be in a certain place equal to men. Physically, we are stronger, but emotionally, they are more resilient. Let
Yeah.
me be very, very clear with you on this. The amount of resilience women show as far as emotional resilience is concerned, men are not reached that space because we're just not conditioned in that way. We are conditioned to bottle up, stand up strong, and go about our work. But emotional resiliency is something that takes, we tend to bottle up. Women don't bottle up much.
We are
They,
not even allowed to, like in a certain sense, we are not even allowed to process our emotions. Because the moment you
we
process
are
our
not.
emotions, you cry or you throw tantrum
You're
or something.
considered weak. You're considered weak.
Yeah, you consider.
Most of the male, I would say, emotions come out in the form of anger.
Yeah,
If you've noticed that, anger is one. Second is addictions. Their frustrations lead them to have addictions. Let it be any form of addiction. Let it be alcohol, drug use, could be
gambling.
pornography, gambling. All of these are addictions because there's a deeper emotional uh, reason for it. There's something that we need to fix within themselves. We can't help them with that unless and until they come out and they speak to us. And that coming out, stating that I have a genuine problem, let it be uh, alcoholism. If you are a person who needs alcohol to survive every single day, do you think or do you feel that it's more of a coping mechanism that you're relying on right now
Mm.
because it's giving you that particular thought clarity, could be that relaxation mode? It's definitely an addiction because you don't have any other form to go ahead and relax, unwind, or to think. A lot of us smoke because we feel that at any given point of time it helps us relax. It I personally am in the stage of quitting, but uh, it's a very tough, it's a very tough way to go about it. Smoke, especially nicotine cessation, is very challenging.
Tell me
But
about.
if if I understand the deep root cause for it, there is a reason for it. And I have personally sat down with a therapist to understand, and they said that, you know what, this is something that you have to take a conscious decision. As far as we are concerned, we are happy that you're here and you're telling us that you have a problem, but we need to sit down with you to understand what is the reason that you feel that smoking is the only way out to go ahead and think, to go ahead and relax.
Mm.
Is there any other alternatives that you have tried? So they tried to go ahead and dig in deeper. And at one given point of time in that session, I suddenly had that thought clarity. In reality, it's just become a conditioning that I'm used to. If something goes wrong, if I have a heated argument at work, or if I have a lot of stress at work, I immediately go and light one up because I've conditioned myself to that. Similarly, men are conditioned creatures. Believe it or not, we are all conditioned creatures of society. There's a lot of expectations, like you said. We are conditioned to those expectations. There is a certain way a man will have to be. That is the first false narrative that we need to go ahead and bring down. You are allowed to be vulnerable. You are allowed to be weak, because there is no point of you standing strong when your heart says that you really need to go ahead and let one out. You need to go ahead and let those tears roll out. You need to. And like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy, but for the greater good for yourself, if you feel down, seek immediate help. There's a very clean distinguish between sadness and depression. A lot of us don't understand that. Sadness is temporary, depression is something lasting. If you see any of these symptoms lasting for more than 2 to 3 weeks, seek help immediately. That one small session, that one session that you sit with a therapist can go ahead and avoid a long term effect on your entire mental process, your emotional process, can be even your physical. There is a connection between your brain as well as your body. You can avoid all of that if you genuinely seek help. So
Absolutely.
I want to know. So I know that you have had similar experiences. So Subra, tell me, what exactly are your thoughts around this?
Addiction wise,
Not addiction in general, but as far as mental health and men are concerned. Uh, I understand that you were about to say something, but I think I was speaking
no,
there,
no.
so I think I just
For a second, I'm sorry, I zoned out. Happens, happens, it
okay,
happens, happens,
no
happens.
worries,
It happens to me. I'm really sorry about that. I zone out sometimes. I
no
zone
worries.
out of my own conversation sometimes. I'm speaking, and I've zoned out of what I am speaking about.
Right, that happens to a lot of us.
Yeah. So the thing about mental health, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Hmm.
Now, how I can urge people, men especially, that's doing, how I can urge them to speak out about it or feel things, start feeling things, and how I tell people to start tackling it. Or why, when they ask, why should I do this? Why should I go?
Hmm.
Why should I start acting? Just because of the same narrative that you have been telling yourself for long. I need to be strong. I need to be the provider. Now you are a provider. You are functioning. You think you are functioning at 100%,
Hmm.
but there is this part of you that is just not functioning.
Right.
10%, 20%, 30%, whatever part of it is, and this part is growing slowly until it consumes
Okay.
everything, and then you take that last step. That's what happens to me. That's what I've seen happen a lot of time. Right.
Hmm.
So working
Yep.
on that little part that's holding you back. No, I personally worked on it because I felt that this little part of myself
Hmm.
is holding me back from realizing my full potential.
True.
I can do much more. I can be better at things that I'm doing. I can put in lot more time and effort and uh, mental space into the things that I want to do, be it my job, be it cycling, be it video editing, or whatever I want to do. But there is this small part of me that's stopping myself from doing.
Right.
So I wanted to heal that part of me and you know, realize my full potential. So if someone wants to look at it from that point of view, that is also a very valid point of view. That yes, for your own
Absolutely.
sake, for your family's sake, for your children's sake, for your parents' sake. Do it for them. If you don't want to do it for yourself, okay,
Do it for them.
then It will help you be a better son, be a better father, be a better husband at the end of the day. Because when these mental health issues crop up, you start disconnecting from your family and from your close ones. Why trouble
True,
them?
very true.
Especially people like us who are empaths, like people like me who are empaths,
Mhm.
who, who feel what the other one is feeling. We
Yep,
start disconnecting ourselves from people close to us. The moment we realize that, you know what, I have something going on here or something going on in here, we start disconnecting because we just don't want to put what we are going through on others.
true.
That's where the friend comes in. That's where you need to hear that's where you need to realize that yes, I need to heal myself so I can be the perfect provider that I can be.
See, if they're good friends, first and foremost, if they're good friends, they will never judge you. They would be there by your side. They
Absolutely.
would go ahead and give you one on your back, and they'd say, "Get help." Second, what you said was very true. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for the people around you, because your mental health issues or your emotional, I would say, your emotional issues will not just affect you, but all of the people around you,
Exactly.
right? So, one such instant, I think, while you were saying about one small, if you're working if you're at 100%, I just remember this small analogy was what my mechanic told. So, if you're a Royal Enfield owner, you definitely know the tappet noise that comes on the bikes, right?
Yeah.
You keep you keep ignoring that tappet noise for a long time. What's going to happen? Your engine is going to go for a toss
Someday or the other.
someday or the other. Similarly, your mental health, the small triggers, the small thoughts,
Exactly.
don't let it build up. It may
Exactly.
look very normal now. You'll be like, okay, as long as I'm functioning, I can just go ahead and move on. But when the day comes when you want yourself or you want to be at 100% and you're not, that will be the biggest disappointment for you. And when you ignore these small signs, it leads to something much bigger.
Let's talk about it from success point of view. People are running after success nowadays, right?
Oh, yes.
Half of being successful is just showing up.
Yep.
Now, severe depression and anxiety that I have or had, and I'm in the process of healing,
Hmm.
stops me from even getting out of bed, stops me from getting out of my chair.
Hmm.
Overthinking. I'm
Yep.
not even showing up. I'm not doing that first half of being successful. That's the point I realized. Ki I need to heal this part of myself so that I start showing up at least.
True.
Right now, everyone has their own ways of healing. Everyone will find their
Correct.
own way of healing. I found it in motorcycling. So this is one. That's why I wanted to show this part. Ki motorcycling is a. My wife is Ish. So I started feeling ki yes, let's get this part out in the world. Ki motorcycling, because a lot of people talk. I kept seeing this motorcycling is therapy. Motorcycling is therapy. Motorcycling is. But how?
It is. It is.
Exactly. Nobody is
So,
saying how, why. How do you feel?
okay.
How did you feel that yes, motorcycling is therapy? So I wanted to get it out there that this is my story.
Okay.
I started doing this and I found out that yes, motorcycling is part of therapy, and this is my proof that motorcycling is therapy. Now you found,
I,
yeah.
I want to ask one question. If anybody here has the answer for that, regardless you or any of you, why do you ride? I think that's the question which has been lingering on every motorcyclist's head. Anybody who rides, the biggest question, why do you ride?
I have the
And
answer for it for myself.
but what about the others?
Yeah,
So I'll tell you, when you ride, normally when you wear that helmet, when you're listening to music in that helmet, or you're just riding in the highway, you're with yourself and your thoughts,
mm,
right? How many of you here actually have a train of thoughts which just keep coming by and going? You're trying to focus on the road, at the same time your thoughts are just keeping replaying in the head. They keep looping you in something bad that might have happened, some things that you wish
of-
better.
Yeah.
But most of these thoughts are around our own ourselves.
Yeah.
What we did wrong, what we could have done better, what we wish our life. I always have this very big imagination when I'm riding. When you're on the highway, you know that the road is empty. You're just riding, and suddenly you'll be stuck in this small zone out zone in your head. Most of the accidents also happen that way. So please be careful. Bring your senses back to the road. But you would say that what if I had have done this in the past? My life would have been much better right now. You you would have noticed. I want you to guys to make a conscious effort of your thoughts when
Yeah.
you're riding this time around, when you're touring or anything. Just imagine what's going on. Just go ahead and observe the thoughts around your head. You would be very surprised.
For me,
But
it's
most of
totally
these,
opposite actually.
you have
My
positive
brain,
thoughts,
yeah, no, but my brain shuts down.
shuts down, completely
Yeah.
blank out.
Yeah, all blank out. The only
Bah.
thing that I feel is like that's why motorcycling works for me beautifully.
Mhm.
It's my meditation. Even
Ah,
when
okay.
if I'm riding to work, during those 15
Mhm.
minutes of commute, 20, 15, 20 minutes of commute, nothing else matters at that point. It's just me, my bike, the road, and the music. That's all. No thoughts about
Okay.
what I'm gonna go to work and do, whether I have to call a nurse. So I work in healthcare. So whether I have to call a nurse or
Mhm.
I have to do the
Mhm.
sales pitch, what do I have to do during the day? No. I decide that
Mhm.
when I'm at home, when I'm
Mhm.
riding to work, nothing else matters. Literally. There's nothing. Even when
Just
that's why I love going on solo trips. I love going on solo trips, be it long
Mhm.
trips, be it short trip. I love going on solo trips because at that point of time, it's just me, my bike.
Mhm.
Now, when I'm taking those pauses between, right, like when I
Mhm.
take those pit stops,
Mhm.
that's when I'll be sitting with a chai and or maybe food in my hand in front of me, and then I'll be thinking, "Ki, acha." Then I have clarity of thought.
Yep,
Normally, my
absolutely.
thoughts are going everywhere. Like I said, I have
True.
severe ADHD, so I have 10 different thoughts. Even now,
Uh,
there's we are having this discussion, but there are three other conversations going on in the back of my head about different topics automatically.
That's quite
Always
common.
happens. It always. I just can't help it. It's there. ADHD is something that it happens, and I just can't help it. So that's why motorcycling works for me so beautifully because at that point of time, I have to take control of it. That's why I keep pushing myself also when I'm riding.
Okay.
I try to keep going
Okay.
faster. I try to add more angle to my leans and stuff because at that point I'm so invested in doing that thing.
Mhm.
Everything else shuts down in my head. Those background voices asking me whether you're successful. One voice is asking, "Is this?" Even now, there's one voice asking me, "Is this worth it? Why am I spending 2, 3 hours of my time?" That's there. There's another voice saying, "अरे मंडे को काम पे जाना है bro." There's another voice saying, "अरे भाई सुट्टा मार लेते हैं." One more voice saying कि चलो खाना खा लेते हैं. So this is what going on in this small area right now.
Yep.
But
That
when I'm
small area has.
motorcycling, yeah. But when I'm motorcycling, everything is shut down. It's mute. Everyone is on mute
Mute.
and focusing only on one thing: how to stay alive and making sure that this fucking body reaches home on time.
So like I said, I started observing these train of thoughts when because that one question why we ride came to me a bit later. I was just randomly thinking. Then I started getting into biking very, very rigorously. I would say very religiously was
Uh-huh,
from 2018 when I started experiencing these short breakfast rides.
uh-huh.
And I the only key thing that used to pop up in my mind is I shouldn't crash. But once you got that little level of skills that you require to tour, started pushing the kilometers a little bit.
Yeah.
Longer. We did go quite a few times from Bangalore, and the road is absolutely amazing, but you tend to get hypnotized with that highway, especially while you're riding in the mid sunny afternoons. You see the entire road going wavy. That happens quite a lot. But
This is the
what I
motorcycling
observed,
tip I'll give you. I personally, when I'm planning rides, I keep my
uh-huh,
highways to a minimum, as minimum as
okay,
possible. Straight highways,
okay,
as minimum. I'll take the longer route.
that's
I'll take internal village routes, ghats, and whatnot. I'll keep my
good.
highways to a minimum. always.
Okay.
Because
Right.
highways are the only place that people tend to get sleepy. Ghats you will never get
Yep.
sleepy. Off-roading you'll never get.
Highway hypnosis.
Yeah,
Highway hypnosis is what we call it, because more that's when you get that micro sleep for a second, pink, and then you'll be in the hospital bed with your hands and legs on a stretcher. So this is probably what usually happen. But I started observing my thoughts, what exactly were happening. What am I thinking is what I wanted to know. Why do these thoughts only come when I ride the bike? But at the end of the ride, you have so much thought clarity. Like you say, you have so much clarity. When you reach your destination, you feel like a very new person. You feel accomplished, you feel successful. What I'm asking everybody to do is, on a daily basis, why not keep a track of those thoughts?
write them down.
Those thoughts, that small thoughts, what is running in your head? Try to know what exactly, why is that particular thought coming in your head in the first place? If it's something very pressing, it keeps coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like an SOS in your head. It's telling you to give importance to it. And the brain, nobody understands the complete functioning of the brain. We all are, I would say, I would need to read a lot more than what I have knowledge
Even
right
the
now
top
to get
neuroscientists don't
even.
know how the brain works.
I need more information. But uh, if you keep a thought, if you keep a track of your thoughts, normally it gives you an understanding if you need help.
And I think the best way to keep track of thoughts is to write them down.
Absolutely, you're
Reddy,
journaling them. There's nothing like it.
Reddy keeps telling me about it, and I've started following it, and it helps a lot. Right now, my head is a lot more clearer. Whenever I get thoughts
Oh
that
yes.
matter, for me that matter, I always, at the end of the day or somewhere, I have this small red diary that I keep carrying around everywhere. I always jot down small diary. Be it anything, be it a nice idea that I got for maybe a video reel,
Absolutely.
maybe it's something that's troubling me, maybe it's something that I have to do in the future, and
Mhm.
instead of remembering it, I just note it down. So this
See, the
diary
thing,
is my whole life, you know.
like I said earlier, if you write down your problems, if you write down your emotions, 80% of the answers are right there. Right, it's right in front of you. Go ahead, let it be, even let it be ideas, like you said just right now. You write it down, something much better would come out of it. It's just that keeping a track of these things. So if you're journaling, if you're going to go ahead, and I'm not telling you to write down your emotions, how you feel and everything, like how a therapist would tell you. But if you are not inclined to therapy and you need to know what is going on with you, keep a track of your thoughts. Write them down for a few days. I'm not telling you to just do it for a week and let it go. I want you to observe your thoughts for a week, not write it down complete, but what is that one repetitive thoughts, a few repetitive thoughts that keep coming in your head? What is troubling you so much? That is something that you need to understand. You deserve to know what, why those thoughts are coming up, right? So if you get a train of those thoughts, if you go ahead and get a track and you know what those train of thoughts are, you can probably be in a better place to go ahead and understand yourself. Okay, this is what exactly is going on with me. I need to go ahead and invest my time a little bit more, or I need to go ahead and put in a little bit more efforts to understand why this is happening, and probably I'll have a solution for it. And
Exactly.
trust me, when you accomplish, when you go ahead and complete something, right, which you start, let it be even a ride. When you start off with a ride, you start off with a complete josh. If it's a long ride, halfway through you'll be like, man, I just want to reach the destination. You'll be so tired, but when you reach the destination, all of a sudden your energy is all back and you'd be just ready to go ahead and, oh man, I just achieved something. You'd feel that sense of accomplishments when you reach that particular destination. Right there, right at the gate, you'd be like, hell yeah, baby, I've just done this.
Yes.
So every rider would relate to this. Every rider, let it be a rider or the pillion, especially the pillion, they'll be like, I just want this to end. So let it be a rider or a pillion, that sense of accomplishment, that happiness, what you're feeling is your mind telling you that you've achieved something.
Yep.
And if you feel that your problems, or if you're going to go ahead and note down your emotions, your problems, everything is journaled, if you try to go ahead and find a solution for it in a similar way, that's the same level of happiness and a feeling of accomplishment that you will feel. Most of your problems are self created in your head. That's why I asked you, do I have to sugarcoat this, or do I have to go ahead and be very, blunt about it? Your problems, half of your problems are just created in your head. If
Yes,
you have a
absolutely.
track of things, if you have a track of those thoughts, you can slowly start eliminating them, which will give you much more, or I would say more clarity, not just with yourself, but with your entire life. It's your
Absolutely.
entire life there at your hands. You're creating the problem. You can definitely create a solution for it as well, or find a
Stop
solution for it as well.
dismissing those thoughts because what,
Absolutely.
yeah, initially how it happened was I started getting these suicidal thoughts at a certain point of time.
Hmm.
And I realized that I have been getting them for a long time. And I
Yep.
used to dismiss them, right? I would dismiss them.
Hmm.
I, s- at certain point of time, I started accepting them. This is my brain,
Okay.
my thoughts. Why are these
Yep.
thoughts? And
Yep.
that's when I started on the journey of finding out about myself,
Hmm.
about why am I thinking this, and then at the end of the day about how to solve it.
All
It's
right.
a problem that came across. It was a problem for me.
Hmm.
I shouldn't be because I
Okay.
had a job, I had
Yep.
a good relationship, I had
Hmm.
parents, I had everything. In a way, a normal person would just be happy with. Then why am
But
I
still, the
getting
feeling of
these?
emptiness.
Yeah, normal person would like, yeah, normally people when you that's what people aim for, right? A family,
Hmm.
job, good
Hmm.
paying, a normal paying job. Even
Hmm.
after running after a good paying job, when I got that, still I'm getting those thoughts.
Hmm.
Why? When I have everything that I at one point of time, I wished for. I have all those things with me.
Hmm.
Still why am I having these thoughts? And that point of time, I realized no, I have to pay heed these thoughts, and then once I started paying heed, I found out the root cause. Like
Hmm.
you said, train of thought. The train of thought.
Hmm.
Why is it starting? You need to find out. And maybe you can find out by yourself. You can go to a therapist. You can go to a friend. You can talk about it, write about it. Whatever helps. Whatever helps. Find your way. Absolutely.
Yep.
Best way, obviously, the quickest way is therapist. Most of the time. Most of the
Yep.
quickest way is therapist because they have a guided pathway for you. They are able to lay
True.
a guided pathway for you. You have to walk it yourself at the end of the day, yes. But they are
They
able to
won't
guide
lay the path for you as well. To be very
you. Yeah.
honest, they'll help. They'll make you build your own path.
Yes, yes.
They'll
Sorry.
make you build your own path. They'll make you walk your own path. The
They have
only
a
thing they
guide
know
to,
is
yeah, they have a
how
guide
to
to
go ahead
how to
and
find
build the
that.
path for you.
Yes, yes,
They
yes.
just know how to go ahead and make you build that path. They're just like your instruction manual. They will just go ahead and tell you what you have to do. At the end of the day, you are the one who's going to end up building that road. You're the one who's going to be walking that road.
They'll
They
show you
just
the raw
help you with
material.
the
They'll
instruction.
show you, yes, this is how you
Absolutely.
can do it. Now you do it yourself. And doing it
Absolutely. And
yourself
they will
is
be there
only
by your side. And the only thing they do is they'll be by your side. They'll be by your side. If you're going wrong somewhere, they'll help you get back on track.
absolutely
If you're Their job is to just go ahead and be there with you to ensure that you achieve what you really want to. Okay, what
true.
exactly are you desiring? What exactly do you want? They're going to go ahead and help you formulate a plan to go ahead and get that by yourself. They're not going to go ahead and provide you solutions. And if they are providing you solutions instantaneously, I would say run away from them. A
At the
good
start, at the
therapist,
first meeting itself, if they're saying that, this is a solution, no,
run, run like there's no other place to run. Just run, find a way and just run. Uh,
very
See,
different thing.
most of there's another problem which we have noticed here in this current day is a lot of them are not very experienced to handle certain cases. For one example, I uh, I predominantly work with suicide prevention.
Okay.
But if it comes to other forms of marital counseling or relationship counseling, I'm very bad at it. It's something of a skill that I have to develop. I need more exposure to it. I need probably a mentor to go ahead and show me the way how things are done. Most of our most of the therapists as well, right? They're not actually accredited. They haven't studied. They just go through. They're advocates. I'll be honest. They're advocates, which is a very good thing. But do they have the required skill sets to help a person?
What we know.
I doubt. I doubt that, because you need to go ahead and do some extensive reading, some extensive exposure to things before you say that you can help a person with his mental issues. Most of the people that I see online, I've experienced this as well. There's a person who said that he was a therapist. He used the very word therapist, telling that I can help you with all of your problems. All. That word was a very big red flag for me. All of your problems, your mental health related problems. When questioned on his credentials, person never replied. Go to his LinkedIn, stalk him a little bit, find out that all of those are Udemy credentials.
Oh,
Can you believe it? He calls himself a strong advocate for mental health, and Udemy credentials were found,
mm,
and those individuals that he is trained with are from Udemy, because the learning again is continuous for me. I go ahead and explore any and every form of learning. I myself, sometimes every time I get a call stating that somebody needs help, I have a very bad churn in my stomach. Like, oh man, what exactly is going to be this case? What is going to be this situation? Because you're scared, because it's somebody
yes,
else's life. You have to be you're held responsible for that, and you need, as an individual, be an advocate for mental wellness. I'm not denying it, but if there are certain things that are you're not trained for, acquire the right skill sets through the right way. I'm not denying you, or I'm not stopping you from telling that don't practice at all, don't do this at all. I'm telling, get the right forms of skill sets through the right ways. Go ahead and go learn more, expose yourself more in the right path, then go ahead and help another person. If you yourself are completely helpless after doing 2 or 3 certificates just for the few likes that you get on online, you want to go ahead and portray yourself as a mental health professional. At the end of the day, you're not just making giving yourself a bad name, you're just giving that entire community a bad name.
absolutely, absolutely.
So they call us quacks. You would have heard, they call us
Yeah,
shrinks, quacks. We had heard a lot of names. If we And the first question that we get is, "Can you read my mind?" I was like, "No. If you tell me what you're thinking, I can probably go ahead and interpret it much better." Uh, we
exactly
don't
why.
read
So
people.
with Road to Wellness also, I never promise people that I'll definitely heal them. It's not therapy.
No,
It's not therapy. No,
it's
I'm just
it's
giving
an
them a space where they can speak their hearts out, and there will be people like me who will be listening without any judgment and bias. That's all I'm giving.
give them all you have to do is see if you're not accurate, give them that safe space to vent. Give them that safe space to talk. Don't judge them. Do not go ahead and try to solve their problems. I would say rather go ahead and bring them into an understanding of the problem much better for them. Go ahead and help them
Definitely.
understand the problem what they're facing much better. Help them reach the root cause. How can you do that? Just by asking the right questions. Okay, these are just simple things. I'm not telling you to go. If there are people with actual clinical depression, who have actual anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, please don't try to go ahead and help them yourself. Seek the right professional. The
Guide
right
them to the
person
right
can go
direction.
ahead and
Yeah, always.
guide them to the right direction, but be there with them. The only thing is, if they need you, if you're promising them, Shubha, this is one thing which I want to tell. If you're promising any of your friend, or if you're promising another person that you would be with them through this particular journey when they go ahead and heal, go ahead and be there with them. Do not abandon them halfway through. They will be needy. Set up very strong boundaries that you will not pick up calls while you're at work, and you will not pick up calls after a certain time. Those healthy boundaries are needed.
Yep,
Okay, but if you're promising a person that you would be there for them during the therapy sessions or during their tough times, be there.
exactly.
Don't make those uh,
False
promises
promises.
that you can't keep up. False promises, as
Exactly.
simple as that. Don't make those promises that you can't keep up. And if you do that, that will go ahead and put them more in a slump. because they feel abandoned at that given point of
Exactly.
time. That will just go ahead and add more problems than solutions to them at that given point of time. Oh, even my friend abandoned me at this point. What am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
And coming back to the topic which we were discussing a little bit with the very start of the previous conversation about suicide and a lot of people taking their lives. See, it's a very, very, very disturbing fact that most of today's generation, statistically, I don't have the numbers at the back of my head right now, but if you go online, if you read different surveys that were conducted, you would find different numbers. But the issue is the same. A lot of people have felt suicidal at any given point of time. Uh, the signs, some of them have gone through with it. They are no longer with us. I personally have had friends, I've lost friends to that. What they don't realize is that that particular heat of the moment, right? When you're thinking about it, when you know that this is the end, we still, inside us, there is still that little bit of hope that is looking for a way out of it. Okay, before we go through with it, if somebody calls you late in the night, or they just drop you a message stating, can I get somebody to talk to, I want to talk to you, please don't ignore those calls, because that few minutes of you giving that positive or that comforting talk, okay, can save somebody's life.
Exactly.
Be there for people. I have received calls at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. from friends who felt that their friends were going through having suicidal ideations. But as much as I wanted to get that proper 8 hours of sleep, there was somebody there who needed me more. And I just gave that 20 to 30 minutes of time to hear them out separately. We get on a call, we talk, they cry, they went out and everything. You go ahead and take promises from them. But that 30 minutes, it actually helped my friend reach that their location. So if you are understanding the 30 minutes of hold which I had with that person by talking to them and trying to understand what exactly is happening with them, reassuring them and hearing them, genuinely hearing them out, that 30 minutes gave my friend to reach the location. And I took a promise from that particular person that they wouldn't go ahead and attempt anything until and unless they really feel like, okay, this is the end of it. I've asked them genuinely, give me a call back, I'll pick up your call. If I'm busy, I will definitely get back to you. I will drop that message immediately to a person telling them that give me 5 minutes, let me just get back to you, and I will go ahead, and if I know it's an SOS, I will definitely go ahead and attempt the call. Second thing is, if you feel that your friend is going to go through with it, please keep their loved ones informed that this is running in their mind. It's okay to lose that person as a friend, then lose that person completely at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is this I this was told to me by my friend, and I keep telling this to everybody. It's okay to lose that person as a friend if he doesn't want to talk to you anymore, just because you went and told their family members that you know what, he's feeling suicidal and everything, he or she is feeling suicidal. It's okay if he doesn't want to be friends with you anymore. Somewhere along the line, he will understand, he or they she will understand, and they will definitely go ahead and talk to you back. But it's much better than losing that person completely to suicide, because every time a person or goes through with successfully of killing themselves or goes through with the suicidal ideations what they have, four more people are affected because of it, because they have that regret that they couldn't help, and they keep sulking. And that if that person was really close, they keep sulking, they keep thinking, what could I have done differently to help? And at the end of the day, and even before they know it, they would be in deep depression thinking about it, because losing loved ones, regardless of their your family or your friends, is not easy.
I'm a
And
bit
if
skeptical about telling the family because this is a personal thought. Why I'm skeptical
Mhm,
from a generic point of view. What if I tell their family and they
mhm.
treat him badly or him or her badly? and
Okay,
say those things and then push them even further.
then you have to, if you don't feel comfortable telling the family, see, ideally families are to be notified, but you can, at least the least you can do as a friend is immediately take them to the nearest hospital, get them psychiatric intervention. The psychiatrist will go ahead and do what they have to do. The psychologist will do what they have to do to psychoeducate the family on how the person is there feeling and how they have to be around the person. Those psychoeducations will be provided by the doctors. But the least you can do, if his family is not approachable, get them to the nearest hospital. Please do that, because they, as much as they're hesitating, as much as they deny any form of help, like I said, it's okay to lose their friendship than lose that person altogether. Force them, go ahead and convince them to go ahead and get help, or just be with that person for the entire day and try to convince them to get help from a therapist. It all depends upon how you go ahead and calmly rationalize with that particular person at that given point of time, because rationalizing with them when they have suicidal ideations is next to impossible. It's a very difficult task. But if you manage to get them to agree to at least see a therapist before they go through with this, or if they agree, the most important thing I would say is, if a person is having suicidal ideations, best to be by their side. Best to be by their side. It can be as simple as taking them for a chai break. Take them out separately. Don't take them out in groups. If they're feeling very uncomfortable, take them out. Talk. Go ahead and convince them to get that help that they want. Let the professionals go ahead and take initiative from there on to help them. But despite all of your attempts, if a person still goes through with it, don't beat up yourself over it. You've done everything that you could. Most of us beat up ourselves because if we have put in all that effort and the person goes through with it, we beat up ourselves. What could I have done differently that I could have saved this person? Some people just don't want to be saved. Okay, it's a very heavy topic. I won't dwell too deep into this, but I'm giving you the basics, what you have to do. The basic first aid is reach that person, reach out to that person, go ahead and convince them to get help. If their family is accessible, if they are kind enough and compassionate enough to go ahead and understand what exactly is going on in their head, please keep the family posted. If you feel that the family is uncomfortable, if you feel that the root cause of all the issue is the family, get them to the nearest hospital. Doctors will definitely go ahead, the psychiatrists and the psychologists will definitely go ahead and put in all the efforts they can to go ahead and understand, help them, and psychoeducate the family as well, to the extent they will make them feel validated that their life is much more than what they feel at that given point of time. There is much more to their lives. It's difficult, but sometimes people do go through with it. uh, there's nothing much we can do, but there are subtle signs. If you find people all of a sudden who has been completely down, who hasn't been very socially active, suddenly the person is very socially active, he's talking to everybody, he's everywhere. And one of
Smiling
the
a lot, talking a lot.
most important thing which I've noticed with people who have suicidal ideations is they plan it very, very, very well in advance. They want their exit to be a phenomenal exit. They plan it very well. Second, they make amends with everybody that they have hurt in the past, regardless. It can be as simple as, I'll miss you. It can be as simple as, I'm so sorry if I've ever hurt you in the past. These are your cues, what you need. If it is out of their character to say things like this, sit down with them. Probably they have these thoughts running. There are multiple cues. You can find it online. There are a lot of courses what normal people like us can do. It's a small certification courses of suicide prevention. Normal people like us can do it. We have a lot of mental health startups in India as well. I personally got trained at Your Dost. I got trained at Banjara Academy, and they all have very similar things to say about suicide. Suicide is planned very much in advance. The
doesn't
person
happen
will
suddenly.
plan,
It happens.
they execute it flawlessly. It's up to you to understand the subtle signs. If they're acting out of character, they're giving out certain cue words, understand, talk to them. If they say everything is all right, everything is all right, everything is all right, you still pressurize them, you would understand that there is something not all right with them. That's when they have to seek help. They want to vent it out with you, they can get better. Nothing like it. If you're very good at understanding, going ahead and probing and paraphrasing everything, nothing like it. Get them to a point and then make them seek help professionally.
Absolutely.
There are suicide helplines as well. You have amazingly trained people. You can just Google suicide helplines for your particular state. NIMANS has set up a suicide prevention helpline pretty much in every state, and that number is accessible 24/7. If you feel like you are going through a lot and you feel that is the only way out, consider calling and ringing this number and just talking to them. Or you feel that you can afford it, go to a therapist immediately. If you feel that you can't afford it, talk to somebody. If there are a lot of NGOs working for mental wellness as well, they do it for free. They don't they don't ask you for a dime or a penny or a rupee. They do it out of the genuinity. There are a lot of volunteers who would love to go ahead and help you because we know the value of life. We know that there's much more to your life than what the decision that you have taken up right now.
Exactly. I remember
So
this
these,
particular line from Mark Ruffalo was telling. He said,
uh
"Death doesn't happen to you. Death happens to the people around you."
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So I
It
always
you
keep
made
that in my head.
That's a beautiful line. It you the amount see death impacts various people in different ways. If one person that you love the most passes away, you can literally feel their absence every single day until you come to that acceptance part of grief that this has happened right now and I have to accept it the way it is. There'll be a lot of turmoil which will be going, an emotional roller coaster is what I would say. You will break down all of a sudden. There's a lot of things that will be happening at the back of your mind as well. I shouldn't have yelled at him. I shouldn't have shouted at him. Why did I fight with him just a few days back? I shouldn't have done this, that. Everything will be running in your mind. You'll start blaming yourself. And at the end of the day, you become more and more susceptible for being depressed, clinically depressed, if you let these thoughts take over. Uh, I think suicide is also a very important subject, and I'm very thankful that you brought it up. And these are the signs that I normally go ahead and try to understand. Again, if a person is suicidal, to reach their premises immediately. See if you can go ahead and help them out. If they're very, very far away, ask any of your friends who live in that vicinity to just quickly go ahead and knock the door and talk to that person until you arrive, or at least sit down. See, at the end of the day, a life saved. It's it's a very different feeling altogether. If you manage to go ahead and save a life, it's not that I'm telling for your own satisfaction, but it is a sense of letting that person go ahead and look at life in another way and having another start to his life. You're giving that person another chance in life,
Exactly.
right? So these are my thoughts on suicide as well, Shubhra.
I don't have any thoughts because I've gone through it myself. It becomes
Mhm.
really hard to discuss about that too much.
Likewise, likewise. It's a very I would say it's a very heavy subject for me as well, but that's the reason that I wanted to go ahead and help people around. And I'm given out the signs that they can look out for as well, subtle signs. The most important thing is when people start making amends with everybody, hands down. I kid you not, I have seen this in most of my cases. If people come up to you and say sorry for no reason, I'm sorry if I have ever hurt you in the past. These kind of things are more of them checking the things off their list, telling that I am going to go ahead and seek forgiveness from everybody. They want a clean slate at the end of the day when they go through with it. So these are your subtle hints. You want to read more about it. Again, you have very, very guided courses around this online as well. Please go ahead and read about it, because it's a life skill that you will need in the long run as well. Trust me, if you would can, with that skill and knowledge that you possess from that particular any online certification as well, or offline certification, just for this bit, suicide prevention, you're just going to go ahead and make somebody's life much better if the situation ever arises.
Share a few links with me. I'll just put them in the.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I would be more than happy to. There is one from Mental Strides Australia as well. There is one individual here in Bangalore as well. I have closely worked with her. She's a very serious advocate of suicide prevention from Mental Health Academy India. I'll share the links with you. Probably you can download the resources of her website, and you can read about all the articles that's written around suicide prevention as well.
Yep, yep. I'll read it myself as well and put them for viewers. Because this was new
Who's
information for me that there are courses for us as well, the common people.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of courses. Even your health, I would say it's psychological first aiding is
Yeah,
to help people immediately if they're going through certain crisis. You have courses for that that is accessible for everyone. It's not just with therapists or counselors. Anybody can do it. So first aiding is nothing but you learning CPR for the body is like learning CPR for people with immediate problems emotionally. Mental health first aid, that's also a life skill that you can acquire. It is a very good skill. People have to go ahead and learn. I'm sure it will be in the next coming years, it will be a mandatory requirement that people will have to
should
learn that.
they should add this to syllabus of schools in 11th and 12th or college at least, not schools and colleges.
Yes, I would definitely go ahead and vouch for people learning about mental health at college levels as well as school levels. To at least get a basic understanding of themselves, they have to know who they are,
Hmm,
to go ahead and work more with themselves.
true, true. Nice discussion, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love the discussion.